In the moonless night, beneath a canopy of swaying branches, a lone grave awaited its occupant. The air was thick with foreboding as I stood before the open pit, the freshly dug earth smelling damp and heavy. An unsettling silence hung in the air, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. My heart raced as I recalled the tales of those who had been buried alive, victims of mistaken death or cruel fate. I shivered at the thought of waking in the cold darkness, trapped in a wooden prison, screaming in vain as the earth pressed down on every side. But that was a different time, wasn't it? Medical advancements had surely put an end to such horrors. Yet as the night wore on, doubt gnawed at my mind like a hungry rat. The world seemed to quiet, to still, as if nature itself held its breath in anticipation. I glanced around, half expecting to see a shadowy figure lurking among the trees. Each sound, every rustle, sent a jolt of fear through me. Finally, unable to bear the unease any longer, I decided to head back to the safety of my home. As I turned to leave, a shuffling noise halted me in my tracks. My heart pounded as I strained to locate the source. From the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of movement near the open grave. Trembling, I squinted into the darkness. There, emerging from the pit, was a figure draped in tattered garments. My breath caught in my throat as the realization dawned upon me. A figure rising from a grave that had been empty just moments ago. A wave of terror washed over me, my legs feeling as though they were encased in cement. The figure staggered towards me, its movements unsteady and disjointed. My mind raced with thoughts of the impossible. The stories, the myths, they couldn't be real. This had to be some macabre prank, a twisted trick played by a sadistic soul. But the closer the figure came, the more undeniable its reality became. Its eyes gleamed with an eerie light, fixed on me with a gaze that seemed to pierce the very depths of my soul. I stumbled back, my breaths coming in ragged gasps, my thoughts a chaotic whirlwind. The figure's voice was a haunting whisper, a rasp that carried with it a chilling melody. "I've waited for you," it hissed, the words sending shivers down my spine. "You were meant to join me, to share in the embrace of the earth." As it drew nearer, a primal fear took hold of me, urging me to flee. I turned and sprinted through the woods, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. Behind me, I could hear the rhythmic sound of footsteps, the figure pursuing me relentlessly. I burst through the tree line, stumbling onto the road that led to town. My gasps were swallowed by the night as I ran, my mind a whirlwind of terror. But the footsteps continued, always just behind, a relentless reminder of the grave's inexorable pull. In the distance, the lights of the town flickered like beacons of hope. With every ounce of strength left, I pushed myself forward, the desperation to escape overpowering all rational thought. Finally, I burst into the town square, my breath ragged, my body trembling. I collapsed onto the pavement, the footsteps suddenly gone, as if they had never existed. People gathered around, concern etched on their faces as they offered me water and comfort. As I recounted my harrowing experience, their expressions turned from worry to disbelief. "It's impossible," they murmured, exchanging glances. "No one has been buried alive for generations. You must have imagined it." But I knew what I had seen, what I had felt. The grave had not been empty, and the figure that emerged was not a figment of my imagination. The horrors of the past had returned, and the darkness had not loosened its grip on the land. As the townspeople dismissed my account, I couldn't shake the feeling that the earth itself was whispering a warning. In the silence of the night, I could still hear those haunting footsteps, a reminder that the past could never truly be buried and forgotten. Weeks later, as I lay on my deathbed, the memories of that fateful night plagued my every thought. The fear of being buried alive consumed me, overshadowing all else. In a final act of desperation, I left a note beside my bed, instructing that I be cremated upon my death. But fate is a cruel mistress, and as I took my last breath, I felt the darkness closing in. My body was prepared for burial, and as the lid of the casket closed, a chilling realization dawned upon me. The horror I had so feared had become my own fate. I was trapped in the suffocating darkness, unable to escape the grave that awaited me.